Hi, my name is Kathy Schafran, and I am the Organizer Director for Study Abroads through Oakland University's Journalism Department, and I'm excited to talk to you about two study abroad opportunities that we can offer you this summer. They're being offered to journalism, political science, international relations students. The study abroad program was actually held last year in Greece, focused on the Syrian refugee crisis and how it was impacting the people, the economy, and the government within Greece. This summer, we're going to offer two different programs, but still focusing on the immense migration that's going on, the largest migration moving of people in the world since World War II, I'm told. As you see on the screen before you, you're looking at what was one of our class meetings when we covered this last year. We'll have meetings just about anywhere. This one was on board a ferry, an overnight ferry that was taking us to a Greek island where refugees getting off a boat from Turkey were just arriving. Let me tell you about the two programs that are going to be offered. There is a program being offered all summer session one. We're calling that one Reporting from Europe's Refugee Trail. It's going to be a month of studying before we leave for abroad, and then the travel portion will be traveling to Europe pretty much the whole month of June. There's also another program. Additionally, it will be similarly on the same theme of refugee crisis, but this one will be taking place in Spain, in southern Spain in particular. So we will be doing multimedia reporting in Spain, and the travel portion of this program will be from mid-July to mid-August. Now, to give you an idea of what the trips will look like visually on the map, if you look down to your far right, you will see Syria and Turkey. So the refugees a couple of years ago began leaving by the millions because of the war-torn area. They traveled by land across Turkey and they tried to get to Europe. But the closest spot for them to get to Europe from there was to go to the Greek island of Lesbos. And from there, once they were there, they were considered on European soil, and the European Union had to take care of them. What our program will be doing this summer, the first summer session program, will be traveling the route that these refugees have been taking from Lesbos all the way through to the mainland, up through Macedonia and Serbia to Hungary, where the country wants nothing to do with them, and completing our trip in Germany, a country that has promised to take in 1 million refugees, and that promise has turned into upheaval in the government of Germany. The second summer program will be based in southern Spain, in the Malaga region, and we will be based there for the entire month. However, we will be taking some very short day trips or 2-day trips, one to Madrid, the country's capital, to talk to government officials about the refugee situation, and the other in the Catalonia area around Barcelona to talk about efforts to create independence from Spain in that northern region. But we're going to base ourselves mostly in the south. That's because if you look at the map, you'll see that northern Africa is the place where a lot of the refugees now are finding they can go across land and cross into Europe across the Straits of Gibraltar. And that's a very small passageway there. It's less dangerous than the other routes that they've been taking. And so you now have a massive buildup of refugees along the southern Spain border, and the governments of Spain are now trying to figure out what to do, and they are having to deal with the refugee crisis of their own now. When you're abroad, you will be studying all forms of journalism, multimedia journalism. We will be working on print journalism. I will be teaching video journalism, how to shoot, how to gather interviews, how to write when you have the material, and how to edit it. We will also be working on podcasting, how to do interviews with a recording device, how to edit and write a podcast with the materials that you have. So you'll be out and about writing stories, creating stories about the refugee crisis in either of these countries or these areas. And then you will be putting them together eventually for publishing, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. We will also have photography, photojournalism lessons to talk about framing and how you tell a news story visually. During the trip, you will have opportunities to meet with refugees, and this will be some of the sources of your interviews for your final story that you're working on. You will be visiting refugee camps and interacting with refugees in a variety of capacities along the way. Many interactions will be available to you on the trips. You'll also be meeting with service agencies. For instance, this is an example of Doctors Without Borders that students met with last year. We'll also be meeting with political leaders in various countries. We'll be going to their parliament buildings and having appointments to meet with the lawmakers who are making the laws related to immigration. You know, there's many of those laws people are working on in the United States. Just imagine what's going on in European countries. On weekends, on both of the trips, you'll have the ability to do independent travel to famous sites, or if you want to go with a group of friends to an island or someplace for relaxation and a beach, that is always the possibility. You could go to the island of Santorini that you see on the top, or you could go to the Acropolis, which you see on the bottom. You also have a chance in these countries to dabble in some of their food, unique food. You see the octopus on the top there. It turns out to be a pretty tasty treat, nothing that I've ever had before. Housing will be included in both of the programs. Here's an example of housing in Greece, a dormitory type setting, 2 people per room with desks, a bathroom, and a lovely balcony looking over Greece. There will be other types of lodging depending on which trip you end up taking, and I will go into those details further as people become interested in the program, or we're going to have some informational meetings on those type of things in the future. Also included in all the programs will be journalism and history mentors. They will be providing throughout the trip background, historical knowledge. They will be setting up trips for interviews, both for people, for refugees, for political people, for agency officials. They will be leading you on your path to helping you do your research for your own story that you're going to be putting together at the end. And speaking of that, everybody in the program, on both programs, will be required to write at least one major story, and those stories will be put together on a website the students in the program will design, and everybody will publish their stories on this news website. So at the end, everybody will be a published journalist. Both of the programs are 4 credits, so if you take the Europe program, it's 4 credits, the Spain program, 4 credits. If you took both of them, that would be 8 credits. They are available for COM elective. You could take it as a journalism elective or political science, international relations elective. Those would be worked out with your professors and teachers. The programs can also be applied to journalism internship credits or COM internship credits. But keep in mind, those doing the internship will have to put in 40 more hours of work than the other students. It is doable. It is something that we have done in past years. Just to let you know that it is being treated as an internship because of the hands-on work you will be doing, but there will have to be a difference between taking it as an elective and taking it as an internship. The difference between the trips, as I explained, the Europe trip, which is in the first summer session, will involve a lot more traveling. The second one in Spain will be more based in southern Spain. You can see the beautiful scenery in the area that you'll be living, and there will be a couple of days of travel, but not as heavily traveled as the first one. The cost, the first one is $3,900 plus tuition and airfare. When I talk about tuition, I said the programs are 4 credits. So however you pay for your credits typically, that's how you will pay separately for tuition. The programming fees that we're talking about are for housing and the trips and the excursions that we're on while we're overseas. The Spain trip is $3,900 plus tuition in the Spain trip. Airfare is included in the second trip here. So it kind of gives you an idea of some of the basic amounts that you'll have to spend. Of course, that's not going to be the bottom line, and we can talk more about what additional costs it might entail, but that kind of gives you an idea of the minimum requirements that you're looking at. There is a deadline involved in all of this for the programs to move forward, we're going to need 9 or 10 students in each program to make it work. And students have to show interest by February 15th. To know that you're actually interested, I'll need to see a deposit of $750 by February 15th. If there are 9 or 10 students who have made their deposit by the 15th of February, then we will say that those programs are a go. If either or both programs have under that amount, we will not be able to move ahead with those programs. If one program is filling up and the other is not, there will be the opportunity for anybody who's made the deposit already for one program to move those funds into the other program if they were still interested in. So we need people who are interested to think about making their decisions by the middle of February, so we're talking just about a month away now. We will know about the viability of both programs by the end of February. If it turns out one or both of the programs are canceled after you've already made your deposit, not to worry. If the programs are not going forward, the deposits will be refundable in total, and those refunds will be made in early March. So what do you do next? Well, you can't take a brochure, but you can look at the brochures online. A link to the brochures is being offered. You can email me with your question at shafran@oakland.edu. If you are indeed emailing me, please let me know what your name is and what your major is, and also what grade level you're in, so freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and what your questions might be. I also wanted to let you know that there will be an informational meeting coming up Wednesday, January 17th from 4 to 5 p.m. at Berner Hall. There's the details there. And this is the meeting for folks who have somewhat of an interest, really starting to think about it. This meeting will show you how to sign up for the program. As you see on the left-hand side of the screen, there's a place that you actually have to go to online to start the process of signing up. And also during that meeting, that informational meeting, we're going to talk about more in depth about costs, how you can raise your own money to fund the trip. We have a student who's done it in the past. She'll talk to you about how you could do that. We will also have an expert information on financial aid, how you can apply loans to this program, and we'll also have information about scholarship opportunities and possibilities at that informational meeting. So that pretty much wraps up the information about these 2 study abroads. Again, I think they're great opportunities, both for travel, for journalistic experiences, and just working outside of your comfort zone and being in places where things are happening as opposed to watching them or reading about them. Again, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to email me at any time, shafran@oakland.edu. Thanks, and I hope to hear from you.